Welcome to Impact TV, a corporate venture video series in collaboration with the Kaufman Fellows. Hi, I'm Jack Crawford, a founding general partner at Impact Venture Capital. Alongside my colleagues Pat Bumpus from Impact Venture Capital and my Kaufman Fellow co-chair Alessandro Sancho, we're thrilled to welcome to the show Kei Onishi, CEO and managing director at Yamaha Motor Ventures. Kei, how are you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you so much for having me here today.
I appreciate you making a little bit of time. I wanted just to sort of give you a shout out. You've been recognized as a 2025 Global Corporate Venturing Power List player. I think that's four years in a row as an active corporate venture group. So congratulations on the honor.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's absolutely a teamwork effort as Yamaha as a whole. Yeah, thank you so much.
Can you talk a little bit about the team at Yamaha and sort of your journey into the corporate venture position that you're in now? I know you spent a bit of time at Tesla. You've had a couple of different roles at Yamaha. It'd be great just to talk about your sort of personal and professional journey, sort of from one entity to another and the various roles you played.
Yeah, sounds great. So I started my career as a manufacturing engineer. Spending lots of time, in the factory floor, shop floor, setting up new production line for, implementing CNC machining or die casting. Travel a lot in the Southeast Asia, India, all over the world. I'm super excited about the manufacturing, robotics, those kind of stuff. But at some point, I started, having a strong interest in entrepreneurship, innovation. Of course, working at Yamaha or, manufacturing industry, building products and delivering those real, goods to the customers, it's very interesting. But the pace of the innovation is not as, the fast as I expected. So I really wanted to learn about entrepreneurship, innovation, and I went to business school here in the U.S. and led me to the internship opportunity at Tesla, and I quite enjoy that. And also, however, I really wanted to pursue the career in the investment side and innovation work, and rather than keep doing the manufacturing engineering job. So after business school, that was the year 2015. That was the year that Yamaha Motor started the CVC program. And then I went back to the headquarters, also being a part of the founding member of CVC in the headquarters side. And since then, I quite enjoy doing the CVC work. I had like several years of the sort of the gap between CVC in the past and now. I was also leading the digital transformation group in headquarters that exposed me to learn about tons of different kinds of functions in large corporation, and helped me to build a great relationship with the leaders in different business units within Yamaha. That absolutely helped me a lot.
We have quite a network of corporate venture groups that we work with. Sometimes they're starting these corporate venture groups to get, just visibility to interesting technology trends. Other times they're looking at, developing partnerships with startup companies. Obviously, in some cases, they're looking to invest and potentially acquire a company that could become their next sort of billion-dollar business unit. Was there, a single catalyst or what was the thinking that went into Yamaha launching its corporate venture group?
Yeah, so the objective of the corporate venture arm evolved over time. And initially, the objective was finding a new business opportunities outside of the core businesses. So maybe I assume some of you are familiar with the concept of Horizon 1, 2, 3. So 1 is the core, 2 is adjacent areas to core businesses, 3 is very exploratory area. So the Yamaha headquarters wanted to explore the Horizon 3. So we made investment in the aviation sector, agriculture, digital health quite broadly, and to identify the business opportunities beyond core businesses. But over time, we are shifting towards Horizon 2, or sometimes in this Horizon 1 as well. We are I would say initially like the ratio of Horizon 3 versus Horizon 1, 2, or like 80-20 or even 90-10. But in these days, the ratio is almost flipped. Our focus is more like Horizon 1 and 2 and a little bit in Horizon 3 to make sure that we can deliver the strategic value to our portfolio companies after we make investment, as well as keep delivering the value to the parent company as well.
I remember TDK talking a little bit in an interview with them about sort of there's some certain groups within a corporate organization. They're trying to find the best way to the top of a mountain to identify sort of the market leadership position there, and then the corporate venture group is sort of in a helicopter going to find the next mountain. And so when you describe sort of Horizon 1, 2, 3, it's looking at new opportunities in many cases. That's interesting. The from a structure standpoint, we've seen everything from Google Ventures start off as just in a way a business unit and then sort of spin out to some degree as GV rebrand themselves. Intel Capital's now spinning out of Intel, and I think exploring bringing in outside LPs beyond Intel itself. Can you just talk a little bit about how Yamaha Motor Ventures was set up from a structure standpoint?
Yeah, currently we have GPLP structure like as traditional financial pieces, and Yamaha Motor Corporation, our parent company, is a single LP of all of our funds. But we didn't get to this point from the day one, absolutely. And we started the startup investment back in 2015, as I mentioned. Back then, all the investment was done as the typical balance sheet investment. All the deals were sourced by the team in here, Silicon Valley, and the short list sent to headquarters, and the folks in headquarters, back then I was part of that team, they decide which one we're gonna pursue, doing further DD and also investment. So that was a process. I think it was very needed for us back then. Even our headquarters, like senior leadership team members, president, CEO, they didn't know what startup investment means to Yamaha, and what is a process, what is term sheet, why is Series A, B, C. So we needed to educate ourselves throughout the organization, not only the top management but also corporate functions, legal, F&A, even business unit as well. What would be the ideal engagement with startups, even with or without investment? We didn't have any experience. So the making the decision at the headquarters helped us to educate the core businesses as well as top management in the beginning. But over time, we started seeing the challenges of only doing the balance sheet investment. So we cannot be so agile. We cannot make a decision in 2 weeks. And also the finding, especially for scope 3, like Horizon 3, finding a right fit with the team or folks within headquarters before making investment is very tough. Always we get the question, hey, here is our strategy for the next 3 years. What you guys are showing us doesn't align with that. That's something we are interested in, but decided not to do it. So that's the strategy, right? But that triggered us to start thinking about the fund, having a fund structure, because balance sheet investment only model ended up, we ended up losing some opportunities. So from 2019, that was year 4 after we started the balance sheet investment. We decided to have the hybrid approach. So the business units lead highly strategic startup investment led by BU, the using balance sheet investment. Of course, project or some collaboration plan should be put in place that tied to the investment. Also, the Yamaha Motor Ventures manage the GPLP fund that will make investment into the sectors or subsectors that BU will not do. So we are pretty much, complementary relationship. Then Yamaha will not miss the opportunity, and also startups will not miss the opportunity to work with us, either through the business engagement, commercial engagement, or financing.
It seems as though from both a strategy and a structure standpoint, there's been a continuous improvement and sort of not a rigid structure that was set up and adhered to. You're learning and fine tuning, which is obviously I think quite smart and what I see lots of corporates in the industry doing, kind of fine tuning their process. Can you talk a little bit about stage and ticket size? We've been consistently focused at the seed and early stage level. Most of the time at Impact Venture Capital, our initial check size is 500,000 to a million. What's been interesting now with 44 portfolio companies is seeing the follow-on rounds of financing come from groups like yours. I think we've actually had follow-on rounds of financing of more than $500 million from corporate investors like yourself into our portfolio companies, which has been great because we've seen them add value with regard to access to customers and strategic insights and capital and be valuable sounding boards. Can you talk a little bit about kind of stage, ticket size, and maybe anything that you're focused on as it relates to adding value when you make an investment?
Sure. So the stage wise, we invest into from the Series seed to Series D, and Series A is our sweet spot. Sometimes depending on the term or level of conviction, we can go from the pre-seed to Series C or D, but it varies. But generally speaking, Series seed to B is our sweet spot. And the check size, the probably from $1 million US to up to $3 million US as an initial check size, and we can easily go up to 5 million per portfolio company. And in exceptional case, we can double down the investment up to $10 million US per portfolio company. And currently we have 35 portfolio companies, and most of them are over 95% are based in here in North America. And when it comes to the decision making process, we are pretty independent from the BUs and balance the parent company as well, so we can close the deal in average like 40 to 50 days. The shortest is like 2 weeks. It was very the tiring nights, but yeah, we can be very agile. Yeah.
If we interviewed some of the portfolio companies that you've invested in so far, what would they say to us about how you've added value beyond capital?
Yeah. So there are multiple ways we can deliver the value to the portfolio companies. The easiest one is probably introducing the Yamaha BUs, internal customers to them. And I think nearly one third of the companies had the project had or have projects with the Yamaha Motor head BUs, and most likely Yamaha becomes a customer, not the other way around. That's the one piece. That kind of engagement actually start even without the investment. So every year we look at 800, 900 companies, and we make 5 to 7 new investments. But among 800 to 900, almost every year, this is the average of the last 3 years, we introduce 100 companies to the business unit. And among 100, 40 go on the first call. And among 40, 24 get into advanced discussion beyond the first call. Have the internal discussion and come back. Hey, I want to discuss more. And among 24, 5 to 6 sign contract, and that can happen even without the investment. So we intentionally decouple the financing discussion and the commercial discussion because decision makers are different, objective is different, everything is different. It's so hard to mix those two things into one bucket. So that's one. And another way of the value creation, more like a value added service to the startups, is the talent as a service. So we offer our engineers to accelerate our portfolio company's product development. So at this moment, right now, 9 engineers from Japan, US, India, they are supporting our portfolio companies. They are mechanical engineer, software engineer, data scientist. It's a combination of on-site, remote, part-time, or part-time, full-time, but they are offering the engineering support to the portfolio companies. Of course, it's the matchmaking process. We get the job description from startups, and we do the regular interview process, including sometimes coding test. Then, if there is a good match, good fit, we can station those engineers to the portfolio companies. I think that's one. Third one is the putting our portfolio companies, the bringing portfolio companies to Japan and introducing the corporations from Japan. Last year, we co-hosted the event with Hitachi, Sony, Toyota, all Japanese CVCs. We brought total roughly 30 companies to Japan, and we invited over 100 Japanese corporations to the event. Some of them, even CFO showed up. It's very, it was really great success. And some of the companies, our portfolio companies, got new engagement, business engagement, investment engagement with the attendees. And I love to keep facilitating that kind of events in Japan to be a hub, communication hub between the Silicon Valley and also Japanese corporations. I see tons of synergies between those two ecosystems.
Oh, I could see that adding amazing value. Maybe one follow-up question to your comment on the engineering resource support that you're providing. Are these co-development projects where the startup retains the intellectual property that's developed and your engineering team is just sort of augmenting the product development efforts to accelerate maybe the creation of a minimum viable product or the expansion of a product that's actually working? Can you describe that just a little bit more?
Yeah. We don't do code development at this moment. Of course, we can do it, but I think it stems down to the Yamaha's sort of nature. Yamaha or maybe other automotive companies are in the same situation, I assume. We are OEM and we are technically system integrators, and we get used to buyer-seller relationship. So not the joint development or joint research, but buyer and seller. So we tried lots of code development efforts in the past, but it's so hard to prioritize that kind of project for both sides. It's so hard to put it as a first priority as corporations too, especially. And what we do right now is us being a supplier, engineering service supplier to the startups. So the startups retain all the IP, and we just serve to startups as a consultant or engineering service provider. So they are the customer, we are supplier. That's the relationship we have, and we feel more comfortable doing that. And of course, if the startups are working on technologies that can potentially have the risk of IP leakage, IP contamination with the BUs, we stay away from doing that, having that kind of engagement. So there is a nuance, but for some project we cannot engage, but we see more success ratio if we just become a service provider, not the code development.
Got it. Okay, that's really helpful clarification. Thanks for that. Let's see. So it'd be great for you to comment on how you work with the traditional venture capital community. I mentioned significant co-investment. We co-invested alongside of Intel and Zoom and Qualcomm and tens of others. We've had Thomson Reuters acquire one of our portfolio companies, so that was an interesting relationship between us and a corporate. And then we have groups like SK Hynix, who are actually, they set up a fund to fund and actually invested as an LP into our fund. So we've had a variety of different relationships in addition to collaborating on large scale events and doing other things sort of informally. Can you talk a little bit about how you guys typically engage with the traditional VC community and how firms like ours can maybe explore a broader collaboration with you and look to add value to what you're trying to achieve?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most likely we work with the traditional financial VCs and as a coin investor. And also I want the traditional financial VCs to use us as the entry point to engage with the Yamaha as a customer. So of course we are a small team, and we cannot visualize entire ecosystem and identify which one is a good which startups has a good technology or not. We are just team of 11, and the 5 the investors, we are still small. So by working with the financial VCs, we can augment our deal sourcing / tech scouting for business units, and through that kind of engagement, I believe that by Yamaha being a customer, we can add value to both the startups as well as the co-investor or potential co-investors. Yeah, we've been working with like the great financial VCs in the past, and also we are happy to take a look at the companies that we can add value, as well as we can do the tech, especially tech DD or market DD. Because most of the cases, especially for Horizon 1, we want to invest in startups that can potentially work with our value chain. So we can always bring the customer perspective for the DD process as well.
Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about any new trends you've seen with regard to corporate venture. There's internal efforts with incubators and accelerators that are happening. There's external collaboration. I mean, everything from groups like Techstars, who are doing more and more things with universities and with corporates. External sort of innovation arms like High Alpha's out there connecting with corporates, doing some interesting things outside as sort of augmented support for corporates. What are some of the trends that you're seeing as it relates to sort of corporates and incubators or accelerators or other access points to innovation?
Yeah, so incubators, accelerators, those are a really great, program to increase the, connections between the early stage startups as well as corporates. And also it's a really great way to share the problem statements from corporate side to the startups, and also investor community as well. And I started seeing lots of interest from corporate side for the concept called venture clienting. So it's a of course, CVC based in here has been doing the very similar stuff in the past, like maybe decades, introducing startups to the business unit, and being early adopter. But looks like especially the corporations from Europe have sort of the institutionalizing that process with budget, dedicated team. That I started seeing more interest in that kind of system, to directly connecting the early stage startups that already have a product with the BUs. Yeah, I think it started with BMW in Germany, and now I hear more the words. I mean, venture clienting from also the Asian the corporations as well. I think that could be a new trend. Yeah.
Whether it's these external partners that are a key stakeholder for you, or internal business units, or co-investors like the venture community, as you sort of look at collaborating with all these different stakeholders toward your priorities, do you have key performance indicators, things that are sort of the ideal outcome as you look at 2025? Sort of how do you know if you had a great year, and you were successful? Are there certain measurable outcomes that you're looking for? How do you think about that?
Yeah, sure. As an investor, of course, the financial KPIs related to the fund performance, that's the first thing come to mind. But the strategic side, we value just one KPI, which is the number of startups that get into the advanced discussion with business units. So we target to achieve more than 20. So 20 new companies started having a deeper engagement with BUs. So it could be through our deal sourcing activities. And that's the most important KPI for us. And so far, we achieved that number for the last 3 years. So maybe we need to, set a higher bar.
Set the objectives a little bit higher, right?
Yeah.
Let's now talk about industry sectors a bit. I mean, I wanted to start with a tagline that I've seen a couple of times. Sort of investing for social impact is something that I've seen affiliated with Yamaha. But then I've also seen breakdown of portfolio companies in the energy space, transportation, digital health, AI data, and then you mentioned your enthusiasm for robotics. I saw a couple of news articles on Phoenix Tailings and the round that you did in May, and then Verge Ag was another round, I think, just over the last 30 or 45 days. Maybe talk a little bit about sort of industry sector focus, how you think about that, and maybe as examples, mention a portfolio company or two that you'd like to sort of showcase.
Yeah, sure. So in these days, we are very excited about the physical AI, the embodied AI or robotics in general. So the reason why we say that we investing in social impact is always we want to think about what kind of emerging needs are the needs are emerging right now, as the reflecting the societal challenges beyond the Yamaha. And so, labor shortage and the resource constraints. Resources means like metal, plastic, water, everything, energy. So we love to support those companies in the connection between like Yamaha and the societal challenges. And in this, yeah, Phoenix Settings is absolutely a really good example. They offer refining rare earth elements refining technology based in the US, so that they can complete the entire supply chain within the US. So they can offer the supply chain diversification to the corporate who needs rare earth elements. And of course, Yamaha will not be a direct customer of metal. We purchase components, so it's very far away from our supply chain, but still they touches on our value chain. And by supporting them, our tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, maybe tier 4 suppliers, all of them can get benefit out of it. So it's an investment to the society as well as Yamaha, and that's one. And also we invested in Path Robotics. PATH, they are based in Columbus, Ohio, offering the welding, the robotics cells. And they are addressing the huge one industrial challenges, which is a labor shortage of welders. And they are paying over $100 per hour, but still not so many people will want to be a welder, or it's that turnover is high, and so they're offering some very smart welding machines that can do the perform the same level of the human welders, which is really great. So yeah, those are the two great portfolio companies, conjunction of our interest as well as the needs from the society in the long run.
And in Phoenix Sailings, if I recall, you invested alongside a BMW.
Yeah.
And then are there others? Is that pretty typical do you find yourself investing more and more alongside of other corporate venture groups, or do you have go-to partners that you find yourself collaborating a little bit more with on the corporate venture side?
Yeah, I think so. In the last 2 to 3 years, I started seeing more close-knit communication between the CVCs in terms of deal sharing, deal sourcing, and also introducing the portfolio companies each year as for their BUs. I think that I see more and more collaboration between them. Even for us, we speak with our parent company's competitors as well. So like Honda, yes, our parent companies are competing with each others, but we are trying to solve the same challenges that society have. So we speak with them pretty oftenly. So yeah, I'm very happy to see the more collaboration is happening between CVCs, and I want to facilitate more on that.
And then I also saw Verjag. I mentioned them briefly. We have an expert in the agriculture space on our team who's a venture advisor named John Finnegan, who runs a company called Beck Ag that's been in the industry for a couple of decades. How are you thinking about ag tech these days? I saw you made that investment. It'd be great to just get your view on what's going on with ag tech.
Yeah. So architect in general, let me start from the macro environment. It's not a great, unfortunately. The industry itself is not is experiencing challenges. For example, growers. The growers are experiencing a little bit of down term. So that we need to be a little bit patient. But as Yamaha, we invested in multiple agtech companies, and this April, parent company decided to acquire two of Yamaha portfolio companies to start the smart agriculture business. One company we acquired, the parent company acquired, is the Robotics Plus. They offer autonomous sprayers. Of course, if you hook up the sprayer, it's an autonomous sprayer. If you hook up mower, it's an autonomous mower. So we invested in the company, I think back in 2019, and we acquired the company. Also, we acquired the company called The Yield. They offer farm management software. By having a software, farm management software, and also autonomous driving tech company, we can offer the vertically integrated automation technologies for the farmers. We are targeting the high value crops like apple, citrus, avocado, those types of tree crops.
Yeah, we were at a golf course a couple weeks ago and saw autonomous mowers everywhere there. So it's interesting to see these early adoption of I guess what you would call in some cases things applied to agriculture or landscaping, but then also robotics seems like this could be a big year for it over the next year. Obviously, most of the buzz in the VC industry and as it relates to innovation is this massive wave around artificial intelligence being the next significant wave of innovation. We're constantly looking at how AI applies to things like security and finance and digital health and education and ag. How do you think about AI in general and how it might apply to the industry sectors that you're most interested in?
Yeah. So AI needs also in our day-to-day operations. AI is everywhere. The ChatGPT or Perplexity or those are the changing our way to do the due diligence. And also for our mechanical engineer, software engineers, they started incorporating lots of ML doing the based physics simulation or cursor by doing vibe coding, or it's coming a lot. And absolutely, AI can solve lots of challenges that we are facing, especially AI with hardware. We can address to the labor shortage for sure. And I'm super excited about especially like AI for robotics. Also, I'm from Japan, and we are seeing lots of the aging issues associated with aging in the Asian countries, South Korea, Japan, Singapore, China. So it's coming. You cannot just add population. The number of people you have right now will be the number you have in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years later. So absolutely, we're gonna have massive issue coming from the labor shortage and aging. So of course there are lots of companies working on the software enterprise SaaS area, but as Yamaha, we spend a little bit more time on the physical AI, embodied AI to solve the challenges in the physical world.
Yeah, it makes great sense to me. Okay, so now dream with me for a little bit. If I am active with my team at Impact Venture Capital and we want to identify a company that ultimately it gets co-investment from Yamaha and then gets acquired by Yamaha in the next 5 years, where should we focus our efforts? Is it AI applied to robotics? Is it to your point that something that helps with the aging population as it relates to robotics? Are there two or three areas that you would highlight that are going to get a lot of attention from Yamaha and are likely going to lead to investments or acquisitions in the next 5 years?
Mhm. Yeah. So the acquisition, probably there are two buckets. One bucket is the products side. So for example, e-bikes, e-motorcycle, or the next gen. I don't that we are working on hydrogen boats, but those kind of product categories. Yes, we are working on lots of the electrification project or alternative fuel engines, etc. But if there are lots the alternative options that can accelerate our product development process or delivery to the market, that is something we would be very interested in. But also the second bucket is the technologies that can drastically improve the efficiency of our process, design process, manufacturing process, supply chain, delivery, sales, those kind of internal the functions to deliver product to the customers. The autonomous, the AI, the physical AI, robotics, automation, or the software to automate the programming process or supply chain planning. Those are the things we would love to use from day one when we meet. So those are two buckets we are highly interested in. And beyond that, I only spoke about the Yamaha, the lens, but we are also interested in the startups that can add value to the partners in our supply chain as well, our suppliers, especially when it comes to decarbonization. The carbon emission from our suppliers is much higher than our own carbon emission. So if there is any technologies that can potentially help our suppliers going up to the mining to reduce the carbon emission, those are the things the technology and businesses we would love to support.
Okay, now I've got a roadmap for success. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. All right, the rapid fire portion of the program. Last couple of questions for you. I like to ask sort of favorite podcast or industry publication. I get sort of, all in as a response on the podcast a lot, and I get sort of, scrolling, LinkedIn and other things. Anything else unusual that you sort of listen to that you find of great value?
Yeah, I typically just scroll the tons of the LinkedIn posts, and also the civil the email newsletters from VCs and the universities as well. Those are the things I typically look at. I have small two kids, and they wouldn't let me to wear headphones.
All right, well, maybe one last personal question. My Kaufman Fellows project was on strategic planning for life. And so I'm a big fan of learning about how people sort of launch their day, anything they do with a morning routine to sort of get their body and their mind right to make that day a great day. If you wouldn't mind, sort of, I know you're navigating through a couple of young kids. That's probably a challenge in itself. Anything you do in the morning to sort of get your mind and your body right for the day?
Yeah, I really like doing exercising, and every day, I bike to my kids' school with them, and yeah, so that really clears my mind. Of course, I have small child with my daughter and my son, but still, you need to focus on riding e-bikes, otherwise you get into accident. And so that the combination of having quality time with kids and doing some exercise, it's 30 minutes, right? going back. So yeah, that's my daily routine. And of course, after that, they're having coffee, and it's my body. That's my routine.
Caffeine seems to be a regular recurring theme as well. So fitness and caffeine and a little bit of family time is
Yes.
definitely the pattern that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of Impact Venture Capital and the Kaufman Fellows, thanks to you, Kei Onishi, for spending a little bit of time with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
That's a wrap for this week's show.